Hello, my name is XONEVANT. Today is Sunday, March the 16th, and this is your Daily Dose. Alright guys, it's Sunday. Time to tell you guys a story from XONEVANT's past, baby. Oh, Lordy, son, there's going to be a ton of these stories. But I wanted to tell you a story today about a time that your boy XONEVANT broke out of school. Broke out, right? You guys have seen those shows like Lockdown and Prison Break, where all these criminals, you know what I mean, they get together and figure out how to break out of jail and prison and all kind of nonsense. Well, that was me, man, back in 4th grade. So I woke up that morning for school and my throat was sore, and I told my mom, I was like, my throat's sore, I don't feel like going to school today. But kind of the rule in my house was that you had to at least try to go to school because, moms and dads, they know how kids are. Half the time we're faking and, or we're just tired from the night before or whatever. So they always said, look, just try to go to school. If you're still sick around lunchtime or whatever, then you call me and I'll come and get you. So, I went to school, did my thing, and it was hurting, man. It was hurting so bad. And when you're in 4th grade, man, a sore throat is like freaking having a nuclear bomb go off in your mouth. Like, it hurts. You know what I mean? Like, now when I have a sore throat, it's like whatever. But when you're a kid, man, it sucks. So I went down to the office right after lunch and I talked to, my mom was actually a bus driver for the school that I went to. So, I kind of knew all the faculty members a little bit more, I guess, than the average student would. So I went and talked to some of the faculty members in the office or whatever. And they said, well, let's call your mom and see what she says. So they called her up and my mom was like, well, it's already like 1 o'clock. Can he survive until 3 o'clock? You know what I mean? It's just 2 more hours. She said, open his mouth and look in his throat and see if it's real red and puffy or whatever, and, ask him if he can make it. Well, they started doing all this silly doctor stuff where they're putting lights down my throat, trying to make sure I was still, good to go. And I kept telling them, look, and I'm a blunt person anyway, like in real life, like I'll shoot you straight. And I was that way when I was a kid too. And I had a pretty bad temper when I was a kid, believe it or not. I know a lot of you guys think now I don't have a temper at all, but I still get, I can still get hostile these days too, but it takes a lot to get me there. But when I was a kid, man, I was like a little M80 firecracker. I was crazy. And they said, basically they told my mom, look, we looked down his throat, everything looks good. We think he can make it. Now, obviously, they work for the school system, man. They're biased. You could have a broke leg and they'd be like, I think he can make it to the end of the school day, right? So I was mad, dude. I was mad. So I'm looking at 2 more hours of having to sit in class and listen to teachers talk about stuff with my throat on fire. And it was crazy because I was walking back to my classroom, and my classroom was upstairs. It was a school that had 2 stories, right? So I'm going down, if you can imagine, a long, long, long hallway, and there's one door at the end. To the right of that door is a staircase that takes me back to my 4th grade classroom where I'm gonna just suffer for the rest of the day, right? Oh, but in front of me was a door, baby. And this door led to the outside. Freedom, baby. Freedom from this prison I was in, right? I wanted to get home, take a nap. I don't know, for whatever reason, when you were a kid and you took a nap and you woke up, you were better. That's just, I don't know what it was about being a kid, but I always felt that way, right? I was like, I just want to go home, go to sleep, wake up, play some games, right? So the only thing keeping me from getting there, now that I'm on the outside, is a fence. And it's a freaking tall fence, especially when you're in 4th grade, and I was a small little joker, right? It's a big fence. And it was big because on that side of the schoolyard was where the elementary kids' playground was, right? So obviously they had to be pretty fenced in. And I was like, man, if I can just find a way to get over this fence, I could just walk home. Now you have to kind of know what I'm talking about here. My house was about, I don't know, 3 to 5 miles away from the schoolhouse. It wasn't that far away. But obviously when you're a kid, you don't really have a concept of how far 3 or 4 miles is. And it's like 1 o'clock, it's probably 85, 90 degrees outside. I mean, it's hot. You don't really have a concept of how long that is. The only thing I ever knew about like how far we quote unquote lived away from the school was in relationship to my mom driving me to school, right? Which was obviously fast. When you're going 55 mile an hour down the road, 3 to 4 miles is not that big of a deal. But I never had walked it before, right? So I'm like, shoot, if I can just get over this fence, right? I can just walk home right quick, like I'm gonna be walking 55 miles an hour or something. And I'll be in bed, in like 15, 20 minutes. Bam. Problem solved, baby. So I grabbed some playground equipment off the kids' playground over there with the elementary school side and stacked it up and basically hopped over the fence. And what was crazy about this story too is that across the street from the schoolhouse was a store, right? They sold like candy and, you know, drinks and stuff like that, ice cream and stuff like that. And it was kind of like a little hangout after school. People would walk over there while they waited for their parents to come and get them and stuff. And we knew the guy who ran the store. His name was Junior. And we called him Junior. The name of the store was actually called Junior too. And my mom and dad had a charge account there for me and my brother. And, you know, if we ever wanted something up to, I think, like $10 a week or something like that, we could just get it. And then they would just pay him, you know, weekly or monthly or however they had it set up. So I was like, well, I'm over the fence, right? And nobody sees me yet. I don't hear any attack dogs coming to get me or anything like that. So I said, I'm going to go over there and get a drink right quick and some food because, you know, I got to walk home and it's hot outside. So I went over there, charged a drink, got me a soda, got me some bubble gum or something like that. And then your boy XONEVANT starts walking home. Now, I'm in 4th grade, y'all. 4th grade. And I'm walking on the side of the road, broad daylight, trying to get home. Now, obviously, I don't know the ramifications. I mean, I could have been kidnapped. You know, a lot of the, when my mom, we knew a lot of doctor friends. And my mom said that she eventually talked to a doctor friend later on and said, you know, he could have easily passed out. It was so hot out there. And I was drinking like a soda. It wasn't like I was drinking water. I was drinking like a Coke or something, right? So luckily on the way home, because obviously about a mile into my journey there, I was like, wow, this is going to take forever. Like, it's going to take me longer to walk home than it would have been to just stay in school. And then my throat started burning even worse because it's so hot outside, right? And I'm drinking soda, which is stupid. And eventually, luckily, one of my next door neighbors was actually just, I guess, going to work or something like that and picked me up. But took me home, and man, I got we call them whippings or spankings. I don't know what you guys call them. This is where you get spanked for doing stuff wrong. That's how my family raised me. And my mom and dad really didn't believe in time out. They spanked you. So it sucked. So my mom spanked me and screamed at me a lot because obviously I could have been kidnapped. I mean, a lot of bad things could have happened. I mean, her son is out there just walking the roads at freaking one in the evening in the heat. It's crazy, man. So, but here's the ironic thing about the story, right? So she calls up the principal because they've got like a manhunt out for me, right? Because I never get back to class. And then my teacher finally sends somebody out, like another student down to see where I am, and they can't find me. So then the whole freaking schoolhouse is freaking out. Like it's like a manhunt, dude. They've got all the kids looking throughout the entire school to find your boy, right? And I'm obviously going home. And so it freaked everybody out. My mom eventually called back, talked to the principal, which this is kind of where the irony comes in. And said, we got him, he's home. I'm bringing him back up to school though, because he needs to be punished by the school. Whatever the school thinks needs to happen, that needs to happen. I've already, disciplined him here, but I'm bringing him back. He's going to sit in that office with you, and whatever you want to do with him needs to be done. Suspend him, whatever. So I go in there, man, I'm freaked out. I'm scared. I'm sweating bullets, dog. I never got in trouble in school. I was one of these kind of kids who just, done what he had to do and went home. Had pretty good grades, and so I'm freaking out. First time I'd ever been in the principal's office, and we sit in there, and we go through all the stuff, right? Why did you leave and all this kind of stuff. And I told him my story. I was like, look, I was sick. They said I wasn't sick. I'm sick. You know what I mean? And I didn't really feel like being here. Nobody would come and get me, so I just went home. So this is where it gets crazy. So he actually leaves the desk, right, where he's sitting, and he comes over to my side of the room, and he sits down, and he says, I want you to sit on my knee right here. And I was like, what? I'm not sitting on your knee. You're the freaking principal, man. That makes me feel, uncomfortable. Well, not like in a sexual way, but you get my point. Like, the principal back in those days was somebody you just didn't want to be seen with, right, because they were the principal. He's like, sit on my knee. He says, look, you're a good kid. You never done anything wrong. I can see why you felt the need to get home, because you were sick, but leaving the school, jumping the fence, it sets a bad example for everybody here at the school, right? And he said, so just promise me that you're never going to do it again, and that you're going to, stay, squeaky clean or whatever. and I will not punish you not one bit. And I was like, word, promise, where do I sign? You know what I mean? And that was it. Now, the crazy thing is that many years later, this principal actually ended up being the father of my brother's wife, believe it or not. So every time we get together for family events or, birthdays or whatever, he's there. The same guy who sat me on his knee, had me promise I was going to be squeaky clean, that sort of stuff. Same guy. We still trip out about this story every single time we see each other. He always looks me in the eye and he says, "You're not running today, are you?" Or something like that. And I'm like, nah, I'm good. So anyway, I thought that was a cool story to share with you guys. The time that I, XONEVANT, found a way to break out of school in the 4th grade. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed. Talk to you guys tomorrow. And remember, if you even miss one dose. Oh man, me and my team's been working on a video game. That's right, baby. We got a video game dedicated to everybody who's been missing that dose. I want to give you guys just a really quick demo of it, man. It's not a trailer, man. This is actual gameplay footage, baby. Enjoy.
Man, I sure am glad I missed the dose, because now I get to play this cool game from Square One Games. Man, if I could just get to the end there, if I could just get that thing through, then whatever I did.